Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, sir.
So, what about the others? Are they all joining or not?
Yes.
What about my voice? My voice is clear or what? I hope
Yes,
my
sir,
voice is
clear.
clear. Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear.
This is just a trial class, okay? Today we'll just try it. Let's see how efficient it is. And we'll continue some more classes. And we'll try to revise some topics, and maybe I'll discuss whatever topics have been left in the syllabus. Okay? We'll discuss about those things there. And let me know if my voice is audible to you, because I might not be getting it if you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so welcome everybody to the class. Just before starting the class, may I know who else is there in the class? I can see Onima, Vedanta, Debia, Medhi. Anybody else?
Nothing.
Okay, Yatang is there. So as you all know, that there are mainly three types of softwares used by a library. The first one is the library management software. Second one is the content management software, and third one is the digital library software. The library management software is software used to manage the library housekeeping operations, for example, acquisition, circulation, cataloging. The content management software is used for designing a library website or a library blog. And here, the digital library software is used to develop a digital library. Digital library softwares are also known as institutional repository softwares. So the main difference between a digital library and an institutional repository is that a digital library can upload any kind of digital document, but in a institutional repository, the documents which will be uploaded should be owned by a particular institute. Suppose we all are studying in USTM. So in USTM, if we want to make a institutional repository, in this institutional repository, we will only upload the documents which are owned by the USTM. Suppose for example our notes, the notes of the teachers, we can upload it there. Something written by a faculty who belongs to USTM, some article written by the students who belongs to USTM. So this is called the institutional repository. That means the institutional repository, the documents which are owned by an institute will upload only those kind of things in that institutional repository. But in digital library, we can upload any kind of documents. Okay, it can be owned by a particular institute member, or it can be owned by any other author who is outside the institute. So it doesn't matter what kind of document it is, but we have to see certain things, that is that it should not be copyrighted. Okay, it should be free of copyrighted. So let us start the presentation. So at first I'll start from the software. So what is software? Software is a collection of instructions that enable the user to interact with a computer, its hardware, or perform tasks. So as I have already discussed in your class, when the normal classes were going on, the software is what? It is just a program. It's a program. The person who have developed the software, he or she have programmed it in certain way that it will do a certain task. So it makes a link between the hardware and the software. It creates a link between the people and the computer hardware and software, and it performs some tasks. Some tasks are predefined when software is developed, and when we do the intervention, then it will perform those tasks. Okay. So digital library software is also a kind of software. So it is a application software because it is only used to make a digital library. So there are type of software: application software, system software. So a digital library software is a software which provides functionalities for systematic selection, acquisition, reposition, processing, search, and discovery of digital document. That means what? It provides us some functions through which we can systematically select the documents. We can acquire it, we can deposit it, we can process it, and again we can search the documents. But documents should be in digital format. So digital library software can be categorized into two categories. One is the commercial software and other one is the free and open source software. So commercial software is what software? The commercial software is software. To acquiring that software, we have to pay a certain amount of money. Okay, it is not free of cost. But free and open source software is what? Open source means it should be free. You don't have to pay any money. it should be free of copyright, and it should also give us the source code so that we can customize the software. We can do some modification in the software according to our needs. So there are some examples of commercial digital library software. One is Encompass, Digital, Virtual Multimedia and Imaging Solutions, Teams, Insight, Muse Search, EOS Web. These are some commercial digital library software. Next one is the free and open access digital library software. Following are the free and open access digital library software. We can call it free. Free means it might be free of the copyright. It can be free of cost. You don't have to pay any money. But open source is the accurate term here. Open source means what? It should be free of cost, free of copyright, and they should also provide us the source code so that we can customize, we can modify the software according to our local needs. Okay. Archimede, Arno, CDS1, DSpace, ePrints, Fedora Commons, GSDL, MyCore, and OPUS. These are some free and open source digital library software. So let us discuss about the evaluation of digital library software. Evaluation means there are so many softwares available in the market. You can see it, Archimede, DSpace, ePrints, lot of softwares are there. Okay, commercial software lots of are there, but we can only use one software in the library. So to use a software, we have to evaluate it. So there are certain points through which we can evaluate a particular software, and we can identify that this software will be beneficial for our local needs or not. That is very important point. Before getting a software, or before procuring, or before buying, if you want to pay money, you have to evaluate it. Like in reference sources, we have discussed in the second semester that the evaluation is very important to find out a better document. Here also evaluation is very important to find out the better digital library software. Okay, so evaluation will be in the context of software system performance, the performance of the software system functionalities, that means the functions software, what are the functions available, user interface, that means what, how or what will be the user interface, that how easy it will be for the user or how difficult it will for the user. We have to find out that also. We have to keep a very easy interface for the user. Okay, then search features. How can we search? What are the features given for the search? Are the features available or not available at all? So we have to see those things also. Digital libraries are very complex systems, as you all know. Hence, while evaluating the digital library software, several criteria have to be applied. Following are the criteria of evaluating a digital library software. First point of evaluation is the content acquisition. What type of content we can upload there? What are the things you can upload? Okay, so we'll select such software where you can upload any kind of digital content. Nowadays, after the pandemic situation, we'll be uploading more videos, audios. So does our software allows us to upload the video and audios, or it only allows us to upload text forms? Okay, we have to assess that. Content management, how well we can manage the content in the software. Next one is the metadata submission and support. The metadata means the cataloging information. The cataloging information means the title, the author, the publisher, the year of publication. Those are called metadata. Okay, in digital library, those are called metadata. Next one is the classification. Can you classify the documents? Can you classify it in a certain order? Next one is the browsing. Browsing means how can you browse? Can you browse it very easily, or it is very tough to browse? There are some website you might be finding that it is very difficult to browse, very difficult to locate the information. So how is the browsing? Next is searching. How is the searching? Searching is easy or it is very complicated. Can you find the search interface nearby the website, or it is you have to go through some other links and then you can find the searching? No, it should be very easy. Then sorting. Can you sort it? Can you sort it as a list of text document, list of audio document, list of video documents, or any other order? Sorting is available or not. Access control, privacy and management is the next one. This is what, or we can we have privacy management? Can you have access control? What is the level of security available in the software? This is also very important. We have to access that. Authentication and authorization. What level of authorization we can give? We have to see that. The interoperability. Next one is the interoperability means how easily we can share it. Okay, it should be very easily shareable. Next one is the ease of deployment. The ease of deployment means the installation. So as you all know that it is very complicated to install the library software. So we have to find out a easy installation software which you can easily install it. The user friendliness in interface. The user of a library. Okay, this is a library. How friendly it is for the user. How easily a user can access the digital library. Next one is the usability. So usability and user friendliness, it will be very similar. Then how easily you can use it. Okay. Next one is the copyright policies. How strict the copyright policies are. We have to also access those. Advanced features. What are the advanced features this is having? The digital preservation. Can we preserve our documents through the digital library software? We have to see those things. Okay. So these are the evaluation criteria of digital library software. Before acquiring a digital library software, we have to go through this evaluation criteria and we have to come to a conclusion that which software will be better for us. So this is very important thing. I'm going to next slide. Is this slide visible to you? Study of open source digital library software.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are mainly 3 examples I'm taking because these are widely used and these are also in the syllabus. The first one is Greenstone Digital Library Software, which is also known as GSDL. Next one is DSpace, that is most widely used DSpace, and the other one is ePrints. So these 3 softwares, the common thing between these 3 software is that these 3 of the softwares are open source software. Okay? The open source. These are freely available. These are free of copyright, and these are having the source code. This is the next slide. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Very sufficient.
Digital library software platform. We have to, before installing a digital library software platform, we have to verify the system requirement. Okay. You might have experienced it earlier that before installing a particular software, we have to see the requirement of a software. Suppose you are having Windows 10 and you are installing a software which is the requirement of software Windows 8. So that software will not run smoothly in your system because the system requirement is Windows 10. So those are the examples of the system requirement. So before installing a digital library software, we have to see the requirements of a software that refers to the operating system, database management system, web servers, the program compiler used for running the software. So there are different platforms available. One is the LAMP, WAMP, MAMP. So we have to install one of these software before installing the digital library software. Okay, these are the supporting software supporting it. These are called web servers. They are supporting web servers for digital library software platform.
So JAMP.
Which one?
Just JAMP.
Yeah, JAMP also.
XOMPP.
Yeah, JAMP is also there. Yeah, there are some examples. Okay, LAMP, WAMP, MAMP, JAMP. These are all web servers. Okay. Next, one of the most important thing we have to remember that we have to see which software is a cross-platform software. That means what? Cross-platform means the software can be installed in any kind of operating system, any version of operating system. So always a cross-platform software is good for us. Okay, the software can be installed in any version of Windows, like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. Okay, or it can be installed in Linux also. There are some software which can be only installed in Linux, like our library management software that is called Koha. So this is not a cross-platform software. We have to identify a cross-platform software. Mainly most digital library software are cross-platform software. Okay? Most of the digital library software are the cross-platform software. I'm going to the next slide. Can you see the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is GSDL. Greenstone Digital Library Software. Greenstone is a digital library software developed by New Zealand Digital Library Project at University of Waikato, that is in New Zealand. It is a suite of software for building and distributing digital library collections that provides a way of organizing information and publishing it on the internet or on removable media. Greenstone Digital Library software is one of the digital library software which is developed by New Zealand Digital Library Project at University of Waikato, New Zealand. And the extra feature of this software is that this software enables us to develop a digital library in our CD-ROM or DVD or pen drive, and also internet. You can develop a digital library. You can carry the digital library in the CD-ROM or DVD or your pen drive. Okay, this is the extra feature of GSDL. You can make a digital library software in your CD-ROM, in DVD, in pen drive, and like this page also you can make it in internet. Okay. History and development. It was released in 1999. It is a open source software. The present stable version. See, this PowerPoint slide has been made 2 years back. Okay, so you have to verify this latest version. Got it? So verify the latest version. So the time when I made this PowerPoint, that time it was having the Greenstone version 3. That is 3.08 version was there. Okay, so you have to verify it now that what is the latest version of Greenstone. Greenstone Digital Library is a cross-platform software. It means what? This software can be installed in Microsoft Windows, Linux, Macs. We can install it there. Following is the link from where you can download the Greenstone Digital Library. Clear? Okay, next is DSpace. DSpace is also an open source software developed joined by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that is also known as MIT, and Hewlett Packard, that is HP Labs. Okay. It provides tools for management of digital assets and is commonly used for building institutional repositories. Okay. So now you know the difference between the institutional repositories and the digital library, right? Okay. First version was released in 2002. It was released. The first version was released in 2002. It is also a cross-platform software. It runs on Windows, Linux, Unix, Solaris, and OS X. The current stable version, when I made this PowerPoint presentation 2 years back, it was 6.0. Now you have to verify it and you have to confirm that what is the latest version of DSpace. Okay. Next one is ePrint. ePrints is a generic archive software developed by University of Southampton. The first version was released in November 2000. ePrint is the first repository management software with OAI support. OAI stands for Open Archives Initiative. As you all know, that the Open Archives Initiative is an organization to develop and apply technical interoperability standards for archives to share catalog information. It is also a cross-platform software. It can be installed on Linux, Solaris, Mac OS, and Windows. Current stable version when the PPT was made was 3.3.15. Just verify it. That is ePrint. So we have discussed about, we have taken 3 examples: GSDL, DSpace, and ePrints. So these three. The common thing between these 3 software is that 3 are open source software and these are the cross-platform software. Let us make a comparison between these 3 software. Okay, we'll take some criteria. Depending upon those criteria, we'll make a comparative evaluation. GSDL, DSpace, and ePrints. So the first criteria of evaluation is document types supported. What are the types of documents supported by these 3 softwares separately? Features of GSDL, DSpace, and ePrints. So first, if I take the evaluation criteria of document types supported, GSDL, it supports books, reports, journals, newspapers, articles, lecture notes, technical reports, theses, images, audio, video, visual art, or any kind of document. In DSpace, it supports all type of digital documents ranging from books, reports, journal article, lecture, notes, technical report, thesis, images, audio, video files to data sets. That means what? These 2 are similar. Next one is ePrints. ePrints supports article, book selection, monograph, conference or workshop item, book thesis, patent, artifact, art pieces, video, audio, dataset, teaching resources, and other That means what? It's similar. It supports all kind of documents, these three software. Second criteria is ability to define scope of collections. What is the scope of collections? In GSDL, scope can be defined while creating every collection in Greenstone. That means what? For whom it is benefited, for whom, what is the audience, who is the user of this kind of document. We can mention it. But in DSpace, you all have practiced DSpace, I hope so. Separate communities and collections can be created. I have shown you. I have sent you the manual, right, in Google Classroom, where you can see you can create separate communities, separate collections, separate top level communities. Separate communities means what? The departments. The collection means type of documents you are uploading. Okay, you can make it here. ePrints, it is possible to define the scope of collections. That means what? In this tree we can define the scope. That means what? Who is the audience? What's the category of users of this particular documents which you are going to upload? Next one is the file format supported. So I'll not read out one by one. You can just see it and you can identify what are the file formats supported by this particular software. So GSDL supports a wide range of file formats. Common formats are following. DSpace support these formats. ePrint support this format. Okay. Next one is the duplicate checking facility. That means what? Duplicate checking facility means what? Suppose you have uploaded one particular file, by mistakenly you are going to upload that file once again in some other name, so it will not allow. Okay, it will allow or not. That is called duplicate checking. Okay. In library science, it is all about the reducing the duplication of effort. After doing one job, we don't have to do it again and again. Okay, we have to save time. So does it allows us to check and duplicate? So GSDL on the basis of file name. GSDL, you can check the duplicate file on the basis of file name. If the file name is having similar name, then you cannot upload that particular file. DSpace doesn't allow the duplicate file. You can upload a same file again and again. ePrint also allows on the basis of the title of the file. Okay. Next one is allows downloading digital objects from URL. If we copy and paste the URL, does it allows us to download? GSDL, yes, it allows. DSpace, no, it doesn't allow. The documents has to be available on local disk. The document should be uploaded. Only the link, you cannot follow the link. You have to upload the whole document. ePrint, yes, it allows. So GSDL and ePrint allows us to download the objects from URL as well. Okay. Then metadata or content import. The metadata means the cataloging information, which I have already told you. So all these three allows us to import the metadata. Okay, next one is the unique identifier assignment. That means what? The uniqueness of the content. Does it allows or not? Yes, GSDL assigns a unique object identifier or OID. It gives us a identification to every particular things you are uploading there. DSpace also, yes, DSpace also allows it, and ePrints also allows it. That means what? It gives us a particular ID to each and every document you are uploading in this digital library software. Next one is deleting and moving of object. Does it allows us to delete and move the objects? GSDL supports. DSpace also supports. ePrints also supports the deleting and moving of the objects. Submission workflow management. That means what? Submission workflow management is what? See, in DSpace we have seen, first we have to create the top level community. Second, we have to create the sub community. Third, we have to create the collection. Then we have to upload the documents, right? Does it allows different person to do the different job? Does it allows one person to make top level community, second person to make the sub community, third person to make the collection, fourth person to make the upload it? Does it allows or not? Does it allows the workflow management? GSDL doesn't allows. This page allows the workflow management, support, submission, accept, reject, and edit metadata process. That means what? The main librarian will have the option of accept and reject. If you are uploading, if the subordinate library staff is uploading some documents, it will be only visible when it is accepted by the admin. That might be a librarian. Okay. In second, ePrint also, it also allows with the accept, reject, and edit process. Email notification, GSDL doesn't allow email notification. This page allows, and ePrint also allows. Web interface for users, yes, all three are having the web interface. That means what? In the online you can access the digital library or not. The metadata extraction, that means what? You can collect the metadata, only the metadata information from the software or not. In GSDL, yes, you can collect. This page, no, it doesn't allows you to collect only the metadata, the cataloging information. ePrint also doesn't allows. Next one is the customization of metadata sets. That means what? The changing of metadata sets. If you do not want a particular metadata, like if you don't want a title of the book, you can customize it. Yes, all three allows to customize. Yes, customization is available because why? Can you answer me this question? Yes.
So customization of
Customization. Can you see the slide?
she
Slide is-
Yes, sir.
Hello.
use
Yes, sir.
Okay. The evaluation criteria customization of metadata sets is available because of what reason?
Some data we don't use for, so we can remove it.
Yeah, we can remove, we can add. So now because what? Because of what reason you can customize it?
For G to catalog.
No, because it is open access. Okay, it is open access and the source code is available to us. That's why we can only customize it. Got it? Okay, next one is supports different search strategies. Full text searching, boolean search, truncated search. Yes, all three allows us this different search strategies. Sorting. Can you sort it? Yes, in GSDL you can sort by author, title, issue date, relevance. Also support sorting as per end user's requirement. Okay. This page you can sort by author, title, issue date. ePrint also you can sort by author, title, issue date. Criteria is interoperability support. That means what? Sharing. OAI and PMH. Yes, all three supports the sharing. The ease of installation. This is the last one. Okay? Ease of installation. Yes. Automatic installation script is available for installation in GSDL. This page no automatic installation script available. This page doesn't has any automatic installation script. And ePrint also doesn't has any automatic installation script. That means our GSDL is much easier to install. Operating system supports. These are all cross-platform software. That means what? It will support almost all the operating systems. The programming language used: GSDL, C++, Java, Perl. This page, the programming language is Java, Servlet, Pages, and ePrint's Perl. Database management system is GNU Database Manager for GSDL, PostgreSQL SQL for this page, and ePrint is MySQL. Web server, Apache Internet Information Services for GSDL. This page it is Apache server with Apache Tomcat Servlet engine, and ePrint is Apache server. Multilingual access support. That means what? Does it supports multi languages? Yes, all these three software supports the multilingual access. Okay, this is what the digital library softwares are. Any question?
No, sir.
No question?
no sir.
Can I ask some questions? Okay, so leave it. You go through it. Okay, I'm recording it as well. So I'll try to upload it in YouTube. You can again go and watch it. And I have only seen 7 people have joined the meeting. So if somebody had missed out, so they can go to YouTube and they can watch it. So upload as many as videos in YouTube. Okay, so go through it, and you can give me also your feedback time to time. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscription is very important because I don't want to miss out anything. Okay. So okay, thank you all for joining today's.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so stay safe, take care of yourself, your family, and I cannot promise when the normal class will start, but I can promise you to finish the syllabus on time. Okay, and my support will be always there. So, and I also need it. Okay. Okay, then thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.